let us move on to the winner of the Portland regional list, a Negator Cube. Yay! All right, so the blind we got with this was Box Marauder. So since we already went over that today, and that was part of the reason why we went over today, we know what those things do. But the build in a, from what I understand, a mostly Borg field, was it?
It was, the field was 8 Borg, 3 Super Voyagers, and a bunch of Katingas looking very confused.
It's like, wait, did we step into the wrong side of town?
And it turns out, yes. Yes, they
you
did.
All right, the championship list, the build, Tactical Cube 138. We have Wayun 6. Give me just a second here, guys. There you go. We have Wayun 6. We have the Fleet Captain for Crew, which is the independent Klingon version. Faked Messages, Transwarp Conduit, Borg Missile, Varel, Croesus, and Kos. So,
who could possibly have seen the shocking turning events coming?
All of us?
Surprised we didn't see this exact same build at the other one. But, so again, just to go over everything on the list for those who might not be familiar with all the cards. Varel negates an attack when you discard her. Wayun
when you discard her.
Wayun prevents one of your crew from being discarded by disabling himself. So, in essence, you disable Wayun to cancel attack against your ship. Croesus allows you to disable a crew or tech. Actually, you have to disable a crew or tech on an enemy ship in range 1, and then steal one of their crewmen. So if they only had one crew to begin with, you have to disable it and then steal it. So this is to break things like, Wayun and Varel, because Wayun stops disabling and discarding, but he does not stop stealing. Last in the crew slots on here, since we have 3 crew slots thanks to the independent Klingon fleet captain, we have Kos. Kos, the wonderful little man who prevents any of your other upgrades from being affected by your opponent. So the first thing your opponent would have to do if they were to try to steal Varel in some way besides Croesus would be to, let's say, assimilation tubules. You would have to assimilate Kos, re-enable your assimilation tubules after that, and then try to assimilate Varel over the course of 3 turns, maybe 2 if you had the Borg Queen. But with Croesus can just disable Kos and then go in here and steal, whatever else you need to steal. So basically, this list was going up against protecting itself from other similar lists. The last 2 cards we have are, or 3 cards, we have Faked Messages to ensure that your opponent can't suddenly just jump in your face to get to range 1 first and steal your stealers. We have Transwarp Conduit, just in case, I believe he was going to use it to run away if he ever needed to, and he just never needed to. Because Transwarp Conduit allows you to remove your ship from the board and come back on the board at the end of the round, outside of range 3 of all ships. And last, but certainly not least, the wonderful Borg Missile that does 3 or 4 attack dice? I think it's 4.
4.
Yep. You don't get any defense dice against these, and for every hit that they deal against you, you get a power token. Not so useful against Wayun and Varel if they negate the attack, but super useful against things like, Super Voyager.
Worth mentioning, by the way, if you can get even just one of these through against Wayun and Varel, that is pretty much the game, because Wayun does need another action to discard every turn. So if for some reason you manage to make the combo not happen for 1 turn, that's enough to get that Borg Missile through, and that might win you the game right there.
Indeed. So, I just did a lot of talking going through the entire build. Someone else start off the conversation.
Well, I did a whole bunch of analysis on a thread on Board Game Geek, which I assume Will would be willing to post in the chat. So this guy went up against 4 Borg cubes. Only one of them was Wayun Varel. The others were basically Picard cubes. and he trounced them all. Now, there are a couple of lessons that are coming out of this, which is, first of all, in his first round, he played a cube with Admiral Kirk, and that was not nearly enough to stop Weiyun Barrel. It's just too slow if they have costs on their ship. Second of all, Borg Missile, all the other cubes that he played, the reason he didn't see any 3 of the Super Voyagers is that all of the other cubes he was up against had Borg missiles, every single one, and Borg missiles wrecked Voyager in this event. Super Voyager is entirely dependent on action economy, so Borg missiles is the best possible meta against it, and spoiler alert, it's really good. The solution people were suggesting to the Weiyun Barrel combo was essentially a 2-sphere build running Picard and Dukat, but the problem is this loses to every other build that showed up, barring the Klingons. I don't know what they were thinking. So basically the meta's in a tough place right now, where the winning list from this event is probably going to be what a lot of lists look like coming in.
I know what the Klingons were thinking. They were thinking it was a good day to die.
Well, I'll tell you what. You don't want to know what the Borg were thinking?
They thought they were looking in a mirror and wondering what the heck was going on.
They were thinking, "We are the Borg. The Borg are amazing."
Yeah, it gives me a little bit of hope, because if everyone is running these super cubes, then maybe Picard Dukat Double Spheres has a place, and if somebody runs that, maybe they can get through these super cubes.
No, the thing is, Picard Double Spheres is only good against Weiyun Barrel. It rolls to Picard Cube, because Picard Cube Borg missiles one basically, and then is just better than the other.
So Borg Rock versus Borg Paper versus Borg Scissors?
More like Borg Rock versus Borg Rock versus Borg Rock, where Borg Rock is Weiyun Barrel.
Yeah.
So with all of these, you know, the Borg are beatable. All you have to do is bring your Klingons, your projected stasis field, and your Klingon boarding party. What would you have to say to those guys?
Prove it.
Yeah.
Hey, apparently Mark's in the chat.
Mark, as in winner Mark?
As in winner Mark.
Oh.
Hey Mark, how's it going? He can't obviously talk to us because, you know, he's in the chat. But
Oh yeah, he's 30 seconds behind us, right?
something like that. And someone was asking about assimilation tubules. I'm not sure what particular part of assimilation tubules, though.
I mean, Simulation Tubules has the same problem as Admiral Kirk, except worse, because you have to disable to use them. The reason Croesus is the best counter is because it gets rid of Cost and Barrel in one action.
Good old Croesus. Using assimilation tubules, like we just said, you know, it just takes more actions, and even though you are eventually getting it, I mean, that's 3 turns of you using up your actions to try to get through the defense, and which is 3 turns of him just shooting at you for free.
And on
using them with here we go. Using them with 2 Sung ships. Do you have enough points for that? I don't think you do.
You might. I did this build the other day. Let me double check. Let's see. 2 typo 3 is what, 38 points. It's 36. I think you might have just enough. It's a close thing. You're gonna get 1 shot. 2 Sungs plus 2 assimilation tubules is 88 points. So, I mean
you could throw, like, there's the 2-point board captain. No, you can't, because he only came with with the small cube. That's not allowed yet.
That's correct. The only captain you could run on this would be generic drones. So you get 1 use of assimilation tubules each.
Now, if we were running with like Mirror Borg Enterprise, Assimilation Target Prime, that might work. But again, that's something we don't have access to yet,
Yeah.
which makes me sad.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's it. You know, and the thing is, 2 Borg Type 03s with assimilation tubules, that's going to roll to anything that's not Wayun Barrel. I mean, even against Wayun Barrel, it might have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, you might be able to get around their extra defense. I mean, it helps that you have 2 attacks per turn, but the maneuver dial on the Sung is definitely not the best. It can work a bit, but with the come about maneuvers costing you your actions, and the cube gets behind you or to the side of you just once, I mean, I think that's just going to, you know, unload into you for so much damage.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, no, even worse. Like, if they Borg missile you, then you can't do your come about, and they're behind you the whole game and just shoot you with reckless abandon.
You know what? You know what's even worse than that? I just realized is if you assimilation tubules them, you could just Croesus to get it back. So, and since you are only going to be able to afford 2 assimilations total per game, there's nothing you can do about that.
All right, here's the next idea. 2 spheres, both with Borg missiles.
Huh. Let's see.
I like we both had the same. We all had like the same. Huh. Yeah, you don't have a crew. They can't disable a crew from you. Yeah, you can't. Well, sorry. Going back to using Croesus to get your thing back, you can disable. You don't have to disable to be able to disable. If it was undisabled, you would disable it and then steal it, but you would still get it back. You don't have to be able to complete the entire action as it was ruled.
Yeah, and it doesn't even matter. I mean, because even if they get a few shots at you, you know, the Borg cube can just fly behind and stall as long as it needs. You know. 2 spheres with Borg missiles. Well, that's also 88 points. So no tactical drones or anything. It is.
I thought spheres were the same as Sungs.
No, they're 2 points more. So, this is an interesting scenario. You could target lock. You could target lock for quality. Let me see what you have in the way of crew. You get Bosus, 4 of 12, Torsus, or Goval. None of those are really any good. Let me think about... no 2-point Borg upgrades are legal for this. Nothing on tech. Obviously, there's not a resource you could run.
I mean, you could put a follower of Khan on there, I guess.
Yeah, let me see what we got for 1-point crew in general.
I don't know. What about this? What about if we put the Borg missile on one of the Type 03s?
You can't run them. Oh, you can. Sorry.
I mean, that gives us 4 points to work with then.
Yeah, but you've got the 90-degree fire arc in that case.
But really, you only need 1 shot to begin with.
Well,
at least 1 shot with each of your things.
Yeah, it's just it seems to me it seems extremely hard. Borg missile is range 1 to 2, so it seems to me to be very hard to get in that range and maintain that fire arc. Look, all you'd get out of 4 points is you could run a tactical drone on 1 ship, and that doesn't seem to be worth it to me.
Cloaked mines?
Cloaked
mines you could at least fit on a Soon because it'll have a tech slot.
Yeah.
What else we got?
No, Borg Sphere has a tech slot, or
not the generic.
Has a tech slot, I should say.
Yeah, the name Sphere has a tech.
I don't know. Yeah, you know what you could do actually is you could run named Sphere, generic Sphere, both with Borg missile, and that would be better against, I guess, somebody who showed up with. It might help against the blind or something. I don't know. This is weird. Yeah, I'd probably end up doing that rather than just eat a 2-point loss.
Yeah, hard to get both in range, especially with fake messages and transwarp.
Yeah.
At least the Song with its 4 banks and 5 straight would have a little bit better chance of it. At least for
what I'm thinking, though?
your initial Borg thing. The other thing you could do is you could throw Loskeen on 1, which would get you an extra, one or 2 straight on your other ship.
You know what I was thinking, actually, is the build, the list of the winner doesn't have a way to steal weapons. Croesus can't steal weapons, I don't think.
Or techs or talents or...
Right. And he actually can't disable weapons either. He can only disable crew or tech. So it actually doesn't seem to matter so much with the double sphere Borg missile build. Let me think. The double sphere Borg missile build. How would that work against? That would work against a Picard cube. That would work against Super Voyager hella well. This might be a way to go. This might be a genuine way to go. I want to test it. The idea, whoever suggested that in the chat, and I don't know who you are. I'm sorry, Mark. I can't see the chat.
It was Mark.
Oh, well, Mark, thanks for proposing a way to beat your own build. I definitely want to test.
Now, I actually have a question for Mark. While we're doing that, is also how often did you have or not have initiative? Because going up against a mirror match, I could see you having a problem if both your waves are at the same skill and you have to be the one to go first.
While he deliberates, I'll answer that. He actually his opponent had initiative in round 2 in the mirror because he took a cheaper tech. And that's when he used Thoughtmaker. And on I think on Facebook, that's what he told me he used jammed messages for. Was in the mirror to be able to get that Croesus off.
Yeah. And since we've got Mark around too, what was our question earlier? Oh, when you used Thoughtmaker, what did your opponent do? Stick with the maneuver, or did they take the 0 and the aux?
We wait anxiously for his reply.
Yeah, because depending on when initiative goes, I mean, either he's moving after you, in which case you stop him from getting close enough to use his Croesus, which you can do the turn after, or if he's going before you, that forces him to move, and you get your Croesus off that turn instead of the next one. They took the aux.
They took the aux. Okay. Yeah, that sounds more likely to me. So I'm guessing, yeah, they probably shouldn't have taken the aux. Their only green maneuvers were forward, and if they had initiative, they were moving and acting first. Or maybe if they did a 1 forward, it wouldn't have put them in Croesus range, then he could have moved in Croesus range. Okay, that makes sense. Spitballing wildly here.
Fake messages is a talent. I don't see a tech on here. Like, I see Transwarp Conduit on the list. I'm personally a bigger fan of Transwarp Drive.
He used Transwarp Conduit. He said his thought was that if for any reason he had to run away and repair, he did. He'd use it. But what he ended up using it for was at the end, his opponent ran away.
To get ahead of him and just come back in firing.
Sorry?
Just to get ahead of him and come back in firing.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So yes, this is a build. It's a pretty darn good build. I guess my validation is not needed though, since it did end up winning a regional event.
Yeah, he's got a DS9 and a cube that say it's a pretty good build.
He was actually thinking about Transwarp Drive, but didn't get a chance to playtest it, so.
And I like hearing that. I like hearing that he play tested. That is a good mark for this game. That it's not just about the list building. You have to be able to fly it.
Mm-hmm. Man, this still makes me want to go find some way to run maneuverability on like a sphere or something to hurt this some more. But
Maneuverability, the tech upgrade.
yep, the one that lets you exist on a planet or not on a planet.
It's 5 points. Guess what I'm going to say?
Quark. Quark's not legal.
I know.
Tanalos is legal.
Tanalos doesn't work with this.
Yeah, not really. But I don't know. I will find a way to make that work because it's just so much darn fun. So the question is, yeah, I mean the thing is the cube is pretty darn good. The big problem with Weyoun is that since he disables, and this is from just a full game point standpoint in general, since he disables, he becomes a skill 1, and then you're moving first, so you have like no threat of bumping and not being able to re-enable yourself.
Except with our double spheres with level 1 drone captains, now it comes back to initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
And so if you can win initiative, you might be able to get your opponent to bump you. And then you're in a decent spot.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, there's no way to spend your drone token, and even if there was, I think it's been ruled that you're stuck at skill 1, even if you have no drone tokens. You can't become skill 0.
Because it has a big 0 on the last drone token, doesn't it? Pretty sure it does.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, but still here, there's
that's
no
the
way
case.
to spend
Even better. You've got your 0 drones. You got your 1 drone tokens. You spend 1 drone each to assimilate something, and you've got zeros now. What? Boop. That.
This is so ridiculously mind-boggling.
It's a puzzle. We love puzzles. I don't know what anyone will be able to do once you can play Weyoun Barrel along with Dispersion Field and costs. Yeah, we're afraid of that too. I don't like it, sir. No siree. In fact, I think I was telling these guys before the show, I wonder if I should run an extra superior intellect on my build just so that if I get the 1 in 5 chance of actually pulling the scout cube, I could somehow assimilate it onto my main cube with cost. Oh wait, no, what is Dispersion Field? Is it a tech or is it a Borg?
It's a Borg.
Yeah, so Superior Intellect would be the only way I could get it.
Yeah, unfortunately, you just have that little problem of pesky shields.
Just a couple of them, you know. Just as many as the Enterprise D.
You know what's even fun? What's even funnier? Someone mentioned Deanna Troi about meets the tactical drone. If you disable a 0 skill tactical drone, your captain skill is now 1.
What?
This happened to me in the arena when my 0 skill captain drones got destroyed on the planet. My captain skill went up. This is what we like to call Dilbert style management.
Sometimes the rules just don't make sense. I mean, I understand the legality of it. I understand why it works. It's just weird.
Isn't it? It all goes by the rules, but you feel like this wasn't quite what they had in mind.
That is a summary of Attack Wing as a whole.
But yeah, so we looked at the champions list. All in all, a really incredibly solid list that's going to only get scarier if we can get Dispersion Field on it.
Yeah.
Going to have to start looking for combos against that, which possibly, you know, what we're looking at just now is double Borg with assimilation of some sort, or things like that. Anything else I missed about for a general wrap-up for this section?
Don't think so. I think we got everything out there.
How do you counter this Borg shenanigan? More Borg.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to see one of those Klingon builds that uses projected stasis field and Klingon boarding party to wreck all my upgrades.
The thing about that is that there's just not enough points for it in 90 points.
Mm-hmm.
There just really isn't. I mean, anything you're running as a Klingon with that few points just isn't going to be. Klingon ships are fragile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, then. Thank you, Mark, for joining us today. I'm glad we got some of your input on your build. With that, I think we'll go over some of the news just to wrap up. For those of you who know, the Wave 8 previews are starting to go up. They have the Enterprise NCC 1701E, which I don't know why they had to. Why they changed that, but we discussed that a little earlier. And also the Valjean was also up. We will not be speaking on those quite yet on State of the Federation. I'm going to be waiting probably until the release when we actually have the full text of all the cards. Because in the previews, there's like 3 or 4 on each of the previews that they leave out.
You know, and what's really frustrating is that the most important cards from each pack are sort of left out. Seska is an attack canceller. Troy is a captain disabler, which might work against Wayun Barrel. And Crusher looks like a Lee Nollis variant of all things, and none of them are shown.
Mm-hmm. Oh, when you mentioned Captain Disabler, that was the other thing. We're waiting for the rise of Chang.
No, we're not. I'm
waiting for the rise of Chang as the Wayun Disabler, since costs and dispersion field don't stop that.
To quote myself from Board Game Geek, Will, stop trying to make Chang happen. It's not going to happen.
He will happen. I am this prophet. You know, prophet, gold press platinum.
Wrong kind of prophet there.
Oh, right. Sorry. I might have stolen that from Dogma. But beyond the pop culture references, next week we will be talking about the last 2 blind ships, and also I think that's the only time we're going to get in a shot for Resistance is Futile 1. Some strategy for that one, because beyond that we have all of Wave 8. We'll have prize ships to deal with, and oh my gosh, our schedule is just packed with stuff.
Yes, there should be another regional up then too, right?
Yep. Next week, almost immediately after the show, like the next morning, I will be leaving on a plane for Chicago to take place in the Chicago regionals.
Cool. And then, but there's one this weekend too, right?
I believe this weekend there's actually a break.
Good.
Because Chicago and I think San Diego go at the same time.
Well, that's going to be a big one. San Diego's going to be huge.
Yes, Chicago and San Diego. Well, Chicago's the 3rd through 5th. San Diego's the 4th and 5th.
Mm-hmm. So those should be two fairly large events, and we'll of course have to talk about those as soon as I get back. Yeah. Let's see. Anything else? We've got all of Wave. We came with all of Wave 8. Resistance is Futile. What's going on next week? Can you guys think of anything else coming up in the next couple weeks?
Wave 8 Resistance Futile. We'll need to discuss the prize ship at some point, assumably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, presuming that Terry gets the avatar of Toomed, assimilated Romulan, and the enhanced shields, those 2 will be up.
Oh yeah, I gotta talk about that too.
Oh my God, we're not.
Yeah, our schedule is planned for like the next 4 weeks. You know. Next week
maybe we should do like an extra episode or something just to knock out some of these previews. This is nuts.
That could be the case. We might go so far as to do an extra one after I get back from regionals, maybe just on regionals or something like that. Could work.
Could work.
Yeah, let's see. I guess that's all for that then. Any other questions from the chat? I don't really see any. Let's see. I thanked Mark for joining us, but I'll just do that again. And especially for anyone else who goes to some of these regionals, we'd love to have you in the chat to talk about stuff, or even if you want to call in. I mean, well, not a live call in, but I have it set up on Skype and stuff. But I mean, if you want to talk with us on the show, we would be more than thrilled to have you guys. Right?
Actually,
yeah, of course.
Will, remind me you said that after we shout out. I have an idea.
Cool. Sounds good to me. Any closing thoughts from you guys?
Keep working on builds. Keep looking at old stuff and see if there's some new combos out there, because that's really what it seems like these new packs are doing. They're opening up old stuff. Yeah,
I would agree with that. I'm a fan of looking at things and saying, this seems like it's going to be good later on down the line.
Well, hey, I mean, we never thought Projected Stasis Field would be all that good, and then it became pretty good.
Where the hell did you play?
A very, very small venue that saw almost no Klingons.
It got a lot better once the Dreadnought was introduced.
Yes.
Once flagships got released. But still, even before that, it was more of a niche card, I believe.
It was.
Yeah. So yeah, Tucker, any last words?
No, guys. Test that double sphere build. I really want to see something happen that's not Wayun Barrel. So. But I mean, and what's frustrating, I will say this. Somebody raised the point on, I think it was I don't remember Facebook or Board Game Geek, about how it's going to be stupid if they change the rules for nationals once the qualifiers are done. I fervently disagree with that. It looks like Deanna Troy, God, I hate myself for saying this. It looks like Deanna Troy may be our answer to our hopes and prayers against Wayun Barrel. God, I hate myself for saying that. But
come on, jump on the Chang train. You don't need Deanna Troy.
Well, Will Riker helps out with Chang in the Wave 8 previews. So it seems to me that I really think the rules should be changed just to allow the later stuff, because yeah, Dissipation Field's going to make cost bad, but if we get a solution to Wayun, that is a trade I am willing to make.
And it's something that eventually everyone in the game is going to have to buy, because everyone's going to need it just to counter it.
Yep.
But yeah. Hope everyone is having fun with this game still. I know I still am. Despite all the problems, I still enjoy this game a great deal.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Oh yeah. And I'm really doing my best to keep it alive in my store now that we've been forced to move to another night, because we actually made the store too busy.
Nice.
It was interesting. But, yep, that'll do it for today's show then. Thank you all for joining us. Let's see. In the meantime, play more games. Oh, no, wait, that's another Will's catchphrase. I can't do that. In the meantime, as you're playing Star Trek Attack Wing, may Q be generous with your dice. Thanks for joining us, everybody.